Welcome to a Guild Wars news episode for the week of October 12th. It's actually Wednesday, October 14th when I'm going to be releasing this. The week before Heart of Thorns drops, there's a lot of stuff happening in Guild Wars 2. So there's probably going to be a lot of news episodes. Now, the biggest thing, of course, we got the release of Heart of Thorns itself on Friday, October 23rd. But there's something else happening, specifically the Halloween event that happens every single year, part of the Living World prospects within Guild Wars 2. It is the Shadow of the Mad King, the Halloween event that happens every year. It extends for a couple of weeks. It's all sorts of fun. They have interesting little costume fights you can get into, so you can kind of transform into a monster, and doing so gives you some costume fight specific abilities. There's actually Halloween specific craftable items that require Halloween specific resources that you have to get from defeating monsters or doing special events. Let's see. Shadow of the Mad King, our annual Halloween festival, returns for nearly 2 weeks of ghoulish capers, spooky fights, and holiday fun. Gather together with the citizens of Lion's Arch to enjoy another year of tricks, treats, and terrible jokes. Now, last year, the Halloween event, Shadow of the Mad King, was a recycle of the year before. There was nothing new. Wasn't that big of a deal. It really was a little bit of a letdown. Nothing changed, but we kind of know why now. They were so busy working on, they hadn't really announced Heart of Thorns yet. They were busy working on that. They had a lot of assets devoted to that, plus the overhaul of Lion's Arch. Well, Lion's Arch all this year, most of this year, has been the overhaul and brand new release of the new Lion's Arch after its destruction. So we have a brand new Lion's Arch, plus the same day, October 23rd, Heart of Thorns is dropping. So they're going to have a whole bunch of new people that are going to be using their brand new free-to-play account features. They're going to be stepping into the game, trying it out to see if they want to invest in Heart of Thorns. What more of a perfect time to put their best foot forward, throw a Living World event, do Halloween, and really put it on big. They've got the brand new Lion's Arch. They have to completely repopulate all the stuff that they had previously. So Lion's Arch is having to be reworked anyway for the Halloween event, because they can't just turn it back on from last year. None of the buildings are in the right place. Everything's going to look bad. So they're having to redo it anyway. This is really, I think, an excellent chance for them to show off some of the better features and more interesting features in Guild Wars 2 in the Living World. Delve into the Mad King's lair. This devilish dungeon encounter will bring you face to face with King Oswald Thorn himself, the Mad King, for a frightful fight. Be on your guard. The diabolical monarch has deadly tricks up his sleeve. Well, I really do think there's a lot of stuff that can be had with these. A lot of fun. It's great to be able to coordinate with your friends to try and see if you can clear out this dungeon that only shows up 2 weeks out of the year. There's specific loot that drops in that dungeon you cannot get the rest of the year from anywhere else. There is specific achievements you can only get in that dungeon. All sorts of stuff. The Mad King's realm. Brave travelers can go trick-or-treating in the Mad King's labyrinth. Face off against the undead armies, and festive frights abound. In the Mad King's Labyrinth, open haunted doors to kick-off events, and beware the grisly monsters that prowl the maze. There's the Clock Tower, which is a huge jumping puzzle. It is hard. I have failed at it 2 years in a row. I am going to finish it this year, so help me. Lion's Arch festivities. This is what I was talking about. The rebuilt city of Lion's Arch will be decorated for these traditional festivities. Diverse attractions will dot the map. Candy corn vendors will share their wares. The candy corn vendors, basically, you are going to be defeating candy corn golems and getting candy corn and other Halloween-centric, candy-centric resources from all of this stuff you'll be doing. You'll be able to use them as either crafting ingredients or as monetary units to actually buy things from these special vendors for the holiday. There's everything from new costume items, new armor pieces, weapons, minis, decorative helms, all sorts of stuff. They're going to have a set of bat wings, if you look right here. Nice set of bat wings right there. So I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be a great event to kick off the March of Heart of Thorns. There's going to be a lot of people surging back into the game, getting back into it after being away for a little while. There's going to be a huge base of new players. I think it's going to be awesome. Now, the next subject. Scrappers. I have been focusing a lot on the new classes for Heart of Thorns, but none more than the Scrapper, the elite class for the engineer. I main an engineer, an Asura engineer to be specific. So I'm very eager to see what I'm going to get myself into once Heart of Thorns launches. There's been a lot of changes that have come since the last beta weekend that the public had access to the Scrapper and some of the other elite classes. So there's another thread just like this from ArenaNet documenting changes that happened to the Druid since the last beta weekend. They're letting us know, hey, the last time you use the Druid and the next time you're going to use them, there's going to be some differences. Here's what we did. The gyros have been improved. The thing that I could go over every single one of these options, but the thing I'm most focused on and most happy about, well, there's two things really. First of all, cooldowns. Gyros now start to cool down upon summoning rather upon the death of the gyro. What this means is that while some of the cooldowns are longer, overall, there's a greater percentage of uptime with the gyros. You'll be able to use them more often now than you were before. The best example, the sneak gyro needed a cooldown that was longer since it would have otherwise had potential 100% uptime. So it now has a cooldown of, this should be 45 seconds, up from 30 seconds. Its 30-second duration remains, however. So now you summon it, and as soon as you summon it, 45-second cooldown starts. And then there's 30 seconds of uptime. So now you have 30 up, 15 down, 30 up, 15 down. And that is a much higher percentage of usage from those gyros. That is awesome. It makes me happy. Now here's the thing. I have a cold. I'm sorry. You're going to hear some sniffling. Several gyros received increased movement speeds to help keep them close to their engineers as you move, and some skill changes to make them more effective at their jobs, like increased range on their abilities. That's awesome. In the same line with this, gyros right up here. Let's see if I can highlight this. Boom. Gyros are going to be affected by a systemic change that should increase their survivability quite a lot. Now, I think that means hit points because they are targetable. You can damage these. If you're in PvP and you see a engineer with a gyro next to him doing something, I think in theory you can target that gyro and kill it. In addition to that, several changes to how gyros follow you and their rate of travel were made. They shouldn't zigzag randomly about anymore, even if you're not moving, and try to stay pretty close to you while you are moving. So the problem was that some gyros weren't fast enough or their movement patterns were too erratic. Now, this makes me very happy. Why? Excuse me. It makes me happy because there's a lot of history in between ArenaNet and Guild Wars 2 and the players of having problems with AI, specifically pet AI, in the game. Rangers have been affected by it. Rangers and necromancers have been affected by it for a long time. There have been a lot of pathing problems, a lot of pet AI problems. So this makes me very happy that they are addressing this quickly. They're introducing a new kind of a pet, and all these things are supposed to be doing for the engineer is perform a function and stay right by your side. That's it. Most of these things, that's all they do. One gyro, you put it in place and it stays in that place and does its thing. That's the shredder gyro. Another gyro, you target somebody. Well, actually, there's two kinds that you target, and it goes to a target. And it just goes in a beeline to that target, does its thing, and then dies. That's the function gyro and the hand grenade gyro. Now, up here, you'll see, let's see, the function gyro. Actually, now they talk about it down here, I think. Function gyro, here we go. Right here in this bullet point. Function gyro should appear and begin stomping or reviving more quickly, and no longer seek to attack anyone that strikes it, focusing instead solely upon its task of stomping or reviving. The function gyro lets you revive fallen allies or stomp opponents in PvP, killing them, quote unquote, so they cannot be revived, at range. It's also had its range increased to 900, which is really good range. That is significant. So now, as an engineer, specifically as a scrapper, I can be fighting. I see one of my allies fall. I can turn, deploy a function gyro, then immediately go back to what I'm doing and contribute to the group. I don't have to worry about stopping, reviving, spending 5, 10, 20 seconds getting somebody up, then going back to action. This means I'm immediately back in action, and we get fallen allies faster. This makes me happy as a potential support class spec. So, there's a lot about this that's really, really interesting. This is on the forums. Let's see. Yeah, professions, engineer, post beta weekend 3 scrapper changes. There is a sticky like this in almost every class sub forum. So go look for them on the official forums. It's worth a read, but it really does show. Now they state specifically at this point, we're not going to be able to change the elite specialization mechanics very much. They're locked in, but. Let's see. The hammer was generally well received, and many of you pointed out some flaws and potential changes that were in line with our intent for the weapon skills. What does this mean? What this means is that overall people liked the hammer, but suggested potential improvements or changes that were actually in line with ArenaNet's overall vision of the hammer and its use. That's good. That means they're seeing suggestions from the community that they like, suggestions they see as reasonable, and suggestions they're taking into account and consideration. That really encourages me. I really do like that idea. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. We're actually running on about 11 minutes now. Definitely keep your eyes open for more videos coming out in the next week or so. I probably am going to be doing some live streaming. I'm going to get the my two brothers out of the woodwork. See if they'll help me do some Guild Wars 2 live streaming on the beta weekend. I mean, on the release weekend. Not this coming, but next weekend. That's going to be Critch and Kurnos. Critch has some level 80s. I don't think Kurnos does. He's still working up in levels, but we'll get him there. Anyway, I'm going to talk to you guys later. Make sure you have a good week. Keep your eyes open for more interesting things happening on the Guild Wars 2 front. Bye-bye.